everybody, welcome to this week's tip. This week's tip is one of the first videos that we're going to be doing covering new bow setup. We're actually going to start from a brand new bow from scratch. We're going to run you through every single step that we take in order to get the bow set up, tuned, and actually go out and shoot it and sight it in. We're going to cover all that, all those aspects. We're going to get you covered and set up for those guys out there that are newbies, and for those guys out there who are veterans and who could use a little help polishing up their skills as far as tuning goes. Well, we're going to be using my wife's brand new bow. She just got it. She's never shot it yet, of course. It doesn't have a rest or anything on it yet. It's a bare bow. It's a PSE Chaos 1, and it's a single cam bow. We've already went ahead and set the poundage and the draw length to her. It's a 25-inch draw length, and the poundage, it was set at 50. It was a little bit much for her at first, so we went ahead and we got it cranked down, and it's sitting somewhere in the neighborhood of around 40 pounds. We don't know exactly. We just got it to where she could pull it comfortably without struggling. But today we're going to be covering the rest setup. We're going to go ahead and put the D-loop on it, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the rest on it. And the rest that we're going to be using on this bow is the Muzzy Xcellarator. I've been meaning to do a video about this for a while, and I've just now got the opportunity to do it. So let's get right into it. Okay, the first step before we get started is you want to make sure you have the poundage set, the draw length set on the bow, because adjusting that after you install the drop-away arrow rest on your bow can affect your brace height, and it's going to affect your drop rate and your arrow travel. So you want to go ahead and make sure you got that set just to make things a little easier in the long run. The tools I'm going to be using is I'm going to be using the RS bow levels. I got the string level and I got the Varinock level. You're also going to need your Allen wrenches. You're going to need something to measure with. In this case, I'm using a T-square. It has the measurements on one side. You're also going to need something to cut the turnbuckle sleeve. I'm using a set of ratchet printers. They work perfect for this. Also, you're going to need a 1/2 inch and a 9/16 open-end wrench in order to install the bolts that hold the rest on. First thing you want to do is locate the mounting plate. It looks like this. Then you want to locate the stop plate. That's this little part. It goes directly on top of the mounting plate, and it is going to be mounted right in the riser hole here. To mount it to the riser, you want to use this bolt here. It's a double-sided bolt that's threaded on both ends. As you can see, one side is not completely threaded down, one side is. Okay, the side that is not completely threaded is the one you want to leave sticking out. All the threads go right through the mounting block, and it's going to mount it to the bow. And everything right now, we're just going to do finger tight. We're just going to snug it down. Okay, now that we got that part on, you know, I like to go ahead and make sure I got the mounting block leveled up. I like straight lines. To me, straight lines are perfection. And that, it doesn't have to be 100% precisely level. It's nice and level. I can see that. It's not going downhill or uphill. So we got that in. We're going to go ahead and take our wrench and lock that down with the bolt we installed the first time. Okay, take your arm. It looks like this. It's got the turnbuckle on the end, and it's got a little button screw with a washer around it. That's the place where you put the turkey spur in. And the turkey spur is this part here. Is actually the rest that the arrow sits on. And I call it the turkey spur. It's called the claw. They like to call it the claw at Muzzy, but it looks like a turkey spur to me. At least the kind of turkeys that I like to whack anyway, with big hooks. Anyhow, you take this screw, or you take this hole right here, and it goes over the bolt that you have sticking out here, the stud. And remember, it's the part that doesn't have threads, so that allows the rest to pivot like so, because this is how the rest is actuated. Okay, then you want to take the 1/2 inch nut that's in the package, and you go ahead and put it on. Just want to go ahead and tighten it on down with your 1/2 inch wrench. And see right there, the rest won't move very easy. What I do is I'll pull it up a little bit like that, let it, and it'll hold itself. Then you just want to take your 1/2 inch wrench there and just back this bolt off, this nut off a little bit, until you start to see the rest actually move like that. See it dropped. Now you've got it actually nice and tight, and see it's not wobbling back and forth. You don't want this to have slop to where it's slopping around. You want to have it snug enough to where it's against the actuating arm there, and but not tight enough to squeeze it and inhibit its movement. Okay, now we're going to set the center shot and the actual arrow height. And you do that by putting an arrow in where the D-loop's at. Go ahead and lift the rest all the way up. In this case, we're below the burger button hole. So we're going to actually, we don't even need the level to see this. So we're going to have to actually shorten the draw stop screw, which hits against this plate that you installed earlier. As you see, as you shorten the screw, it actually lets the arrow rest move up farther, which raises the front of the arrow up. And you want it to be with the bottom of the shaft lined up to the top of the burger button hole. Alright, now that we got the arrow set level, it's time to set the center shot. It's done by simply sliding the claw itself on the rod to the left or the right. Take your turnbuckle sleeve, that's this part here. It looks like a big long screw. And I'm going to screw this into the turnbuckle just a few turns. I just basically want to get it in there so that it holds like that. Okay, in the package there was a list of bows. You've probably seen already. You know, what you want to do is you want to look, find your bow on there, and then you'll look at the top of the page and it'll have the cable caps. It'll tell you how many to use, 1 or 2. It'll tell you the clamp position, which is the position that the clamp goes on the downward moving bus cable, referenced off of the cable slide or the roller guard. And then the turnbuckle sleeve length, which is the turnbuckle sleeve, is the screw part that I was showing you a minute ago. They've got it determined already how long you need to cut it already, you know, ahead of time. Muzzy's experimented with all these different types of bows when they were designing this rest and running the prototypes, and they figured out already ahead of time so you guys don't have to do it. But what we're going to do is we're going to pretend like this bow is not listed, and we're going to show you how you determine what the turnbuckle sleeve length is, the clamp position is, and how many caps to use. Now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and you're going to hold the rest in a Z position like this. Okay? Then you're going to put the turnbuckle sleeve to where it sticks straight out like that. Then you're going to take a measurement off the downward moving bus cable over to the turnbuckle sleeve. And that's saying right there about 1.5 inches. That means we're going to have to use 2 caps in order to get our pivot point over closer to the arm. And the reason you want to do that is because you do not want to have this arm pulling in towards the center that much, because it ends up torquing the rest, and it actually can cause the rest to move sideways as it moves up and down. So you got to use 2 caps. If it's over 1 inch, it's in the instructions, the 2 caps. 1 cap looks like this, 1 cap looks like this. This is the outside cap. I've got the 2 screws slid into it. You're going to put it over the downward moving bus cable like that. Then you're going to put the other cap right over those 2 screws. And you want to be sure that the little grooves that are cut in there go directly to the bus cable itself. That way the bus cable has a little groove to set in. Okay, you snug it down like that. Go ahead and put your pivot point on there. And you want to tighten it down. Just finger tight for now, because we're going to have to make an adjustment. Okay, we got those tightened down. They're just snug enough to hold this. We're going to have to slide it up and down. Now we need to determine the height that it needs to be. And you're going to do that pretty much the same way as we determined the distance from the turnbuckle sleeve to the clamp. You're going to hold your rest at a Z position, and you're going to put the turnbuckle sleeve straight out like so. Then all you want to do is you want to slide down that clamp to right there. That's going to put you in the general ballpark. Now we're going to have to make some minor tweaks here in a few minutes once we finish with the rest, but this is going to get us started. Alright, go ahead now and remove the turnbuckle sleeve from the turnbuckle. Then just slide it directly over the top of the pivot point there that we just installed, and then flip it out to where you're going to see it line directly up with the turnbuckle itself. Alright, you want to maintain the Z configuration of the rest, but you want to take note to where the threaded part ends, and you can tell where the threads end on this turnbuckle. It's right just in front of where it pivots down to go into the pivot point that it makes here, the little joint. So you want to go ahead and bring it down there, and what I do, you can measure this if you want, but what I do is I'll just take my hand, put my fingers here, and I'm going to hold it in a general roundabout area, say right at the end, And I'm gonna I want to mark that point right there. And then I take my ratchet pruners and I'm gonna go ahead and cut that just like so. Go ahead and run that turnbuckle sleeve all the way into the turnbuckle until it bottoms out. Now, if you end up having a half turn like I did in this case, it's not going to line up directly with the pivot point on the clamp. Go ahead and just back it out, whatever it needs to be, and then slide it directly onto your clamp. And you're going to notice, after I did that, we're back in the original Z position. Alright, go ahead and reinstall the little mini button head screw right into the clamp. We're going to go ahead and draw the bow back and see how it comes in contact with the stop plate. And as you can see there is a little gap between the draw stop screw and the plate. So it's a real simple fix. All you want to do is loosen up the bolts that holds on your draw stop or your clamp. And we're going to go ahead and drop it down about 1 inch on the bus cable there. And then retighten them. About 1 inch of aero travel is what we're looking for. That's right about where the let off hits, takes it into effect. That's the valley of the bow. So let's see where we're at now. Right there it connected. And that's right at the let off. That's right where it breaks. Okay. That's perfect. Okay. One final thing to do is we want to go ahead and we're going to serve in this area here to where the clamp actually comes in contact with the bus cable. And you want to go back and make sure you tighten up all your screws. Your top screw, your stop screw here, and your center shot screw. You want to make sure all that stuff's tight. We got it tight. We're good to go. Now, in order to put the serving on your bus cable and to be able to get it back in exactly where it's at now, it's simple. I'm just going to take a measurement right off the cable slide here, this pretty hot pink cable slide, to the top of my clamp. And that puts this one at 7 inches from the bottom of that slide to the top of this clamp. That's 7 inches. Alright, so now that we got that done, just go ahead and just take it back off. And let's tie us a row of super knots or serve it. In this case, I think we're just going to put some super knots there to build it up, to keep it from coming directly in contact with our bus cable. And we got our serving on there, nice and even on both sides to protect our bus cable and to keep the clamp from sliding on it. The last thing we need to do is install the moleskin. There's a piece of moleskin for the riser and there's a piece of moleskin for the hook. We're not going to be covering that in this video. We're going to be putting on some other silencing material in later videos. You'll be able to see that coming up soon. Well guys, that's how you install the Muzzy Xcellarator. It's a pretty good rest and it's very reliable. If you guys are interested in some of the tools you saw me use here today or the Muzzy Xcellarator rest itself, be sure to check out the Bow Tuning Tips online store over on the website. There's a lot of cool stuff there that's going to help you be able to do your own bow work and your own maintenance. Well, until next time, I'll catch you then. Until then, stay tuned.